Landscaping crews out today.
Good.
Yes.
All right, Chair Gary Delvaux, Vice Chair Matt Schuler. Here. Alderperson Martha Ford.
Here.
Chair Blumer. Here. Debbie Dean asked to be excused. Kathleen Fist.
Here.
And Melanie Farnworth.
Here.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Jim and Barb, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so carried. Approval of the minutes from March 12th. Motion, please.
So moved. Second.
Matt and Jim, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so carried. Regular business, consideration of responsible action to approve a request by DDL Holdings LLC to transfer real property in accordance with development agreement 17-02 Rail Yard North. Sir?
Thanks. In your packet, this talks a little bit about kind of working with DDL, master developer for Rail Yard North. Part of that agreement entails also a continuing guarantee with the city. And in doing so, two things. One, that the RDA has to approve land transfer. Generally, right, when we enter a development agreement, if you're transferring it to an outside entity, it requires our approval just to know, all right, who we're going to continue our relationship with down the line. And then in this case, the city, because they have a guarantee and land is acting as collateral, the city is also going to sign off on these land transfers. So the developer is requesting to transfer 3 parcels that were named, and then the letters were included in the formal request. One is 6,000 6/10 of an acre for building R. Look at the warehouses to the north, it's buildings R, S, and T. So building R to be transferred. Building, and then 3,500 of an acre on the east edge of the property to transfer for the condos. And this is basically so we don't have to have, as those condos sell, each individual condo owner come to the RDA and request approval. So they're transferring basically the first chunk so that they can sell those off. And then the third would be to TWG, and that's a project we've discussed here to do the Broadway lofts. And that just talks about the fiscal impact. Right now, the city is guaranteeing about $2.5 million. And then it adds the amounts up on there, $600,000 for building R, $170,000 for the condo lots, and then $650,000 for TWG property. Just for the condo lots, it's going to start initially at $22,000, and then as those condos sell, it'll work its way back up to $170,000. Upon final sales for those. So basically, that money is used to pay back hometown bank, and then the lender basically shows us that money's been paid back, and that our guarantee goes down. Basically, it goes back down to 0. So with that, we reviewed. These are above kind of what we've estimated in terms of values for collateral for the land. So we are comfortable to recommend the RDA given their approval.
And if I remember correctly, Kevin, when we originally started this agreement with DDL, these land transfers were all contemplated in there.
Yes.
Right. It's
Yep.
just, now it's just the actual coming to be.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
So the execution of our original
This is
plan, nothing.
administrative of the development agreement.
Okay.
Any questions or comments? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion.
I'd make the motion to approve the action to the request by DDL Holdings to transfer real property in accordance with their development agreement 17-02.
Second.
A motion on that, and a second by Alder. Any other questions or comments? If not, we shall vote.
There we go. Okay, passed unanimously.
All right, very good, thank you. Item number 2, consideration of possible action on request for a 6-month planning option for 321 and 325 North Broadway by Merger Urban Development Group.
Good afternoon.
Wendy.
Hello.
The property on Broadway, which is 321 and 325, is an RDA-owned property, and we have a developer that is interested in that parcel. It's the one that has been brought together to the RDA in the barracks project, if I remember some of the development that happened with that. So we've been working with Merge Urban Development, and they're here to talk to you a little bit about what they would like to do with this property and a little bit about themselves, so you can get to know them a little bit. But we've been working, Kevin and I have been working with them for the last few months. This is Joy, and she's passing out information for you.
Do you have any questions or comments before we open up? If not, we'll go on the motion.
So moved.
Second.
Jim and Jackie, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Excellent. All yours.
All right, thank you so much. Brent Dahlstrom from Merge Urban Development. We're based out of both Cedar Falls, Iowa and Madison, Wisconsin. And we started this company after I'd been doing development for over 10 years, and then the Opportunity Zone tax law came into effect a couple of years ago, late 2017. And really, it's still just kind of finding its way, and people are still trying to figure out. We were one of the first groups to dig on Opportunity Zone project back in Iowa, throughout the country, really. And it's been an exciting process for us. And John Tiber is here with Skydeck. So with an Opportunity Zone, you need both a developer and you need capital gains. So I don't know if you're very familiar with them, with the program in general, but it's a great program to get outside capital into your town, as well as have people within the city of Green Bay use their capital gains, and there's some great benefits from having an Opportunity Zone project. Really quickly, we were here roughly 1 month ago to tour town, and our ideal project size is really in that 10 million and above, and in a town that we can maybe get up to 30 to 50 million dollars. We're not like a lot of developers where it's just Madison, Des Moines, Minneapolis, Milwaukee. We're really focused on, college towns, access to water, under 150,000 people. So we have all that information on our website if you'd like to take a look. But Green Bay really fits all those things, right? And there's just a lot of changing demographics and how people are living, and Green Bay feels a lot like the town that I'm from and grew up in, other than we don't have the Packers. But you grew a lot back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and you have a lot of those housing types, but maybe not as much of that urban housing that people are looking for today. With people getting married later in life, we've just found this great need for studio 1-bedroom and 2-bedroom units for those, millennials, but even beyond millennials, people that are selling their house after maybe kids leave for college and moving back into downtown to be around restaurants and walkable areas. So go ahead for the second page. So go on. You go back to, no, sorry, go back one more. So our team, I'm Brent Dahlstrom. I personally own over 1,100 apartment units, and I've been doing this for a while as far as development. I'd be happy to share any of those references, and we did put some of those in. Joy is my partner. She's here as well. She was back here in February for the Opportunity Zone Conference, and that's where made an original connection, which is great. Then we spoke at the Governor's Conference in Wisconsin, and that really led to our initial meeting in Green Bay. Dan Drendel, who's not here, is a partner in a design firm in Des Moines, Iowa. And they'll show a few of the projects they've done. They've been instrumental in the redevelopment of downtown Des Moines. Go ahead. Just quick about us, we boldly engage community so people and place can transform. This is something we believe in, and Slingshot believes in. It's getting people to engage right in their community and finding that and creating buildings that do so. Moving on. So what we're here to ask for is this 6 months, because our process is very important to us. We don't take the same building and throw it on different places throughout the Midwest. We design the building so that it fits this particular spot in this particular neighborhood in this particular town. And Green Bay is different than the other towns that we're in, and we need to figure that out still today. We have a lot to learn about Green Bay. We know just a little, enough that we know we want to be here, but we need to go through that process. So our process is that of Slingshots for our design, is we step back, meet with stakeholders, which we've already started to do, but and getting this 6 month, we can go through this process of stepping back, meeting with these stakeholders, and then putting together a great package that we can bring back to you. We've created a few examples in here, but we'd be happy to show you what that package would look like if you need to move forward. Slingshot put together kind of what, I don't know if you're familiar with Des Moines at all, it has a very similar feel to Madison. But move on to the next slide. They've done almost 50 projects in downtown Des Moines. Mixed use, breweries, just rehabbing old hotels into apartment buildings, taking old apartment buildings and put them into hotels. They've done all kinds of things, historic, ground up, and so they're a great firm to work with. A lot of this development started in the cities and now is, finding its way, the bigger cities, and finding its way into towns of this size like Green Bay. So they're excited to move forward with that. Keep going. Keep going again. Uh-oh, we're missing some slides. We were just getting into, I can actually, I'll watch as you're turning the pages, so. The next page is great. So these are a couple of different projects that we're doing right now. That first one is in Waterloo, Iowa. Moving to the next one is one that I referenced. This is a 7-story project. We don't know of many opportunity zone projects that started before this, but this one is 9 months under construction. It is a $15 million project that the towers are up and they're starting to frame, and talking about how everything is different. This one sits on the water, and so the architects came up with an idea of every single deck has a view of the water, even though it's straight and skinny towards the water. We angled it all, so we try to make it very unique. Next page is Stevens Point. We were unanimously approved a couple of months ago, and we plan to break ground here in a few months. In the end, this is a little over a $30 million project that we're really excited about. That'll be our first project in Wisconsin. We're probably shortly behind that in Oshkosh, but this is similar to what we're looking to do. Really, that commercial on that first floor with residential above, and we think it's just very important to have that active ground plane, something that the residents can enjoy, but also what the community can enjoy. If you're just single-purpose buildings, have their place sometimes within our developments, maybe sitting back as we work our way back in the neighborhood, but really having that ground plane active. And where this particular lot sits, there's already so many great things going. You almost have the reverse of a lot of towns that we see where you need a lot of that commercial, but so many cool things, and that's why we were instantly drawn to that area. Moving forward to the next page, this is in my hometown, a project that's been going on. John actually, who his firm is based out of Chicago, actually lives in this project today. The next page talks about, whenever possible, all the projects I showed you before, we put solar on. It's important to us that if we can do it, we're going to add solar, usually electric car plug-ins, at least one of those within the parking area. We're really trying to work with any type of groundwater issues that we can and take care of those, but it's very important. It's one of our core beliefs to make this project sustainable long-term. If you don't know about the Opportunity Zone program, it's a minimum of a 10-year hold. So we're not a developer. It's actually nice because most times cities don't believe developers, and I rarely did when they came to our town, but this program means that we'll be partners for a long time. We want to be actively involved, and that means building these buildings correctly. So we're going to hold it a minimum of 10 years and really all the way through almost a 30-year program where you can hold the project. So it's important to us to make it sustainable. Next page. Like I told you before, we'd like that 6 months to get into a great design and show you a picture that looks similar to the ones in previous pages, but we just took a quick look at what we can possibly do. And this was our architect dug in previous projects on this lot that maybe didn't that didn't happen, just had a lot fewer units, right? And so we were able to, our unit sizes start usually right around that 400 to 500 square feet and then move up to 900 to 1,000. But the real sweet spot is probably in that 500 to 700 square feet. So this project with underground parking and a little bit of parking behind the retail on the main floor, we're coming up with currently with 24 units and 3 floors. If there was any type of loosening of the parking requirement, we would love to go higher and get more people in there and make a bigger building, but that'd be something that we would need to work on with city staff as we move forward. And we also want to make sure the building fits in with the surroundings as well. The next page, so our execution strategy, and I talked briefly about the community engagement effort, where we're going to be talking to, we've already started doing this, but local business people, owners, find out what's missing. Are we right, are we wrong, or is this the type of housing which we've heard already that is needed? Attainable housing. We are market rate developers, so we are not, we do not seek any type of tax credits for low-income housing, but attainable housing is very important to us, and we do that by correctly sizing our units. So we just did a study in a different Wisconsin town, and a vast majority of these units are affordable and attainable to those that are still at that moderate or even lower than moderate income level. So we're able to get a wide range of income levels in our buildings without having to put a label on the building or the people themselves, which is very near and dear to us that we don't do that. Tenant recruitment, this is although we hope to do a much bigger building as we find other spots in Green Bay, we have a 2,000 square foot retail spot here, so that won't be as big of a thing, but normally we'll have 20 to 40,000 square feet of retail, so we want to at least come in at 50% rented, so you don't have a building that's empty on the main floor, because you can have all the apartment units rented and the main floor empty, and everyone thinks that's a failed project. And so we don't like to see that happen, and it's something that we focus on a lot. We put in a letter for financing, and that we have our capital group, and we have a strong financial backing, and if you need any more of that proof, we'd be happy to provide it, but we are someone that's ready. The opportunity zone is a timing issue. We need to, with a lot of our capital gains from our group in 2019, we have a specific amount of time that we have to at least identify projects, and we'd like to make Green Bay one of them. And then we really do need to start in a short period, which is another great thing about the program, is that it's not letting people just lock up sites and not proceed. This is really something where we've laid out a schedule where we'll be digging in 2020. I would love to hear any questions. I know I moved quickly, but I know that you have a full agenda today, and we want to be respectful for your time.
Do you have an idea of the range of investment at this point in time? Maybe it's very hard.
Yeah, no, we could be pretty close. This building in particular is right around that $4 to $5 million range.
Kevin, we often do a 2-month option, but you're comfortable with the 6 months in this case?
Yeah, I think this is a property, I mean, we've had out on our website, we've had no other interest coming to us, so in terms of, locking it up, I think this gets them enough window of time without having to come back here in 3 months, so, yes.
Thank you.
Which property is this exactly?
So this is vacant lot in between on North Broadway where like CVS, Commercial Business Services, and 335, that studio,
Okay.
that spot, that grass lot right in between.
Okay.
has it
I
up
think
on
I have it
her.
up. I think this is it, right?
Yes, yep, yep.
Not that you would ever sit in the bar across the street.
It's
If
half-
you
if you
were,
had-
you would
Okay.
see this
Look
lot
out the window.
beautiful.
Okay. And then the only other question I have is this Opportunity Zone tax law. You had indicated that it brings in outside capital and investment. So what really is the objective of that? You talked about being in the project for a minimum of 10 years. So it's saying the developer's still part of the project.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have to say
Is that
owner.
the biggest?
So your town would have had to apply to even have a census tract recognized as an opportunity zone census tract, which the town of Green Bay did, and they were awarded a couple of different areas. So that was step one, and that was back in 2017.
Okay.
These census tracts had to be lower income, lower household income areas of your town, areas that maybe got left behind after '08. We saw a lot of capital rush to certain areas of this country, but some areas got left behind. And so the program itself is really meant to bring in capital gains, capital into those areas of your town. So not only just to spur building, but to give people within those areas opportunity. Maybe it's a better opportunity to work or, but yes, so the advantage on our side, it doesn't make a bad project good. It makes a good project a little bit better because there is a little bit of a tax benefit on the capital gains. And the full benefit isn't realized unless you hold the project for 10 years.
Yeah, I think, well, Brent said, it doesn't make a bad project good, but it's another funding resource that might attract capital that wouldn't otherwise have been attracted to projects in these areas. This will be probably the first of some others, and Wendy's putting together, we're gonna have a workshop forum talking about that, the role of those zones in the city and things that we can do, but yeah, this will probably be the first of some other projects that you'll see that use that type of funding mechanism.
Alder Johnson?
Really awesome.
Yeah, just, I guess one would be maybe a voice of support for the project. I did meet with Joy and Brent when they came into town, and I mean, we like what these guys are about. And Kathy, you had some questions specifically about opportunity zone tax credits. I'd love to even maybe sit down with you sometime and talk about that, because that is going to be a really powerful tool for our community to use in the coming years. So from an
Right, that's what I
on-Broadway,
was trying to.
yeah, from an on-Broadway perspective, from alderman perspective, I fully support what these guys are doing on a 6-month option. The second thing is maybe more administrative in question. As you guys know, you had authorized for us to install a temporary pocket park in that area. By no means do we want that to stand in the way of this. This is first, because the pocket park was all about being temporary, but it's just during that planning option period, so it's just more of a question for you, Brent. Do you think, would you have any objection to us continuing to do a temporary pocket?
Please
there?
do.
Okay,
Please
thank
do.
you.
No, I think this is awesome, especially knowing what's going on in some of the bigger cities and the development that's going on. And I've been through Des Moines on my way to the University of Missouri, so.
Any other questions or comments?
I just wondered, is it also this little building here that's gonna be?
No,
No,
Nope.
that stays then.
the building stays.
So it's just this little?
We have two narrow
or is it
lots
these
next to each
two?
other. Nope, two narrow lots, not the parking lot, just the
Oh.
grass lots.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
narrow.
pretty narrow.
Oh,
So
they
then-
proposed a 7-story building on it before. I mean,
Oh,
if you look at some other buildings, I mean, you can get some density on
okay.
them. Yeah.
The
Doesn't seem like
one
much,
building
but-
that you saw in the packet that I said was one of the first Opportunity Zone projects, that 7-story building, which doesn't really make sense here, but a larger, that's on a smaller lot than what this is available. Now, Stephen's point, that was 4 acres. We would ideally have 4 acres, but as of right now, that doesn't appear to be available for us right away.
Yeah, I mean, when I look at like the sizes on there, right, like just the dimensions, it's a lot, right? I mean, when you talk about density, it's a lot in that building, but that's what you do in the next 6 months, right? Figure it out.
Absolutely.
Kevin, I know this is preliminary, but I know there might be a TIF request. What TIF is that, and what's the status of it?
That's TIF 5, that's the big downtown TIF.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's,
Capable?
Motion to back to regular order business.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thanks, Brent.
Hey, thank you so much for your time.
Excellent.
Look forward to working with you all.
Thank you.
Go back to regular order business.
I'll make a motion that we approve 6-month planning option for 321, 325 North Broadway by Merge Urban Development.
Well, second.
Motion by Kathy, second by Melody. Any other questions or comments? Other than the vote?
One more.
One more, okay.
Passed unanimously.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Number 3, consideration of possible action on the Hinge Fund request by Redevelopment Habitat for Humanity for the property located at 1655 Denver Lane, tax parcel 21-11-T-2. Okay, Ken.
Okay, in September, the RDA had approved this project with the understanding that Habitat for Humanity might need some additional funds for some of the facade requirements that we wanted to see on this project. Just a quick recap, they're building a 1,500 square foot 4-bedroom ranch with a detached garage. The rendering here doesn't show the brick, but that, I believe, it would be about like the half.
It would be under the porch area below the window.
Okay, the full porch area.
Yep.
Okay. And so Habitat has submitted a home application for $4,000 for the additional funds for that brick. And we feel that that will better fit the neighborhood. A lot of the houses around there have that brick facade, so just to fit in, we would like to see that added. Habitat at this time is also requesting additional, or the ability to request additional funds if any unforeseen site issues come up with any water laterals or sewer lines. This site currently has a house on it that's going to be demolished with block grant funds. And you never know, once you start digging in, there could be some other complications there. So they just wanted to have everyone be aware that they might come back if they need to for additional funding. But other than that, staff is supportive of this project, and we're excited to see a new build in that neighborhood. Something that's going to fit the neighborhood and just be a good attribute there.
You like this a little bit further out than normally?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. That was, right, one of our
One of the reasons we
main.
like that project there on that site.
And Habitat is here if you had any questions for them. But otherwise, it's pretty straightforward. The 4,000 is in line with, I think, building costs, and yeah, we're supportive of the project.
Good.
With that,
Overgard?
yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we
Give the home funds, or approve the home funds request by the Greater Green Bay Habitat for Humanity for the property located at 1655 Deborah Lane.
Second. Motion made by Overgard, and a second by Matt. Any other questions or comments? If not, we shall vote.
Passed unanimously.
Very good, thanks. Thanks very much. Thanks, Ken. Number 4, consideration of possible action on a development agreement with Kelly Wall for the property located at 19 Roy Avenue, tax parcel 5-795, on the new homes in the neighborhood program. That's Ken again?
That's me again.
Figured
Yes.
that.
All right, so we acquired this property from the county for back taxes. There was originally a home on this that I believe the city tore down in 2016. The site is vacant and ready for development. We had it advertised in our New Homes in Your Neighborhood program. Callie Wall had submitted an application to build a new single-family home on this site, requesting a full $20,000 grant as part of that program. Staff has been working with the potential owner's builder, B King Construction, is who they'll be using, to define or refine their plan, and this is the plan that staff has agreed on. We had just added some windows and a few architectural features here and there. Well,
City Star.
oh yeah, no, it's a real nice plan. Let's see here. Oh, Ms. Wall is actually here today, if you wanted to talk to her. This is actually be her first home. She's been looking for the last, probably about a year now, I think. And when she saw this opportunity, they decided to jump at it and is very excited. Staff is very supportive of the project. We feel, it fits in with that neighborhood. Do we have the map up there? Yeah.
It's an empty lot right now.
It's an empty lot, yep. So right on Roy Avenue there, near Gray and Mather. Yeah, if you had any questions, potential owner,
How many
otherwise, we're
square feet?
supportive.
We know how many square feet?
Yeah, just over 1,000 square feet.
Okay.
It was like 1,080 square feet. So it's a 2-bedroom, 1.5 baths,
Does that include the basement?
full basement with.
Right, but does the square footage?
That does not.
Okay,
Yep.
good.
And that was one of the other requirements. We were working with the builder to put in an egress window, so if there's, any ability to expand
Yeah.
later. So, best time to do that is during construction.
Yeah, we learned. Yes, it's hard to say.
So other than that, no, staff would recommend the full $20,000 grant for this project.
The fund where $20,000 is coming from, did you keep the fund, or I'm just curious about?
Nope, we have plenty of funds. Right now, we are at, we have $341,000 in the neighborhood enhancement fund right now, and we also have another $1 million that we can take from that's been approved
Okay, good.
from the state trust fund.
So this is a grant to the developer.
Correct, this would be a grant, correct.
Um,
Aaron's the motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the development agreement with Cali Wall for the property located at 619 Roy Avenue using the $20,000 of neighborhood enhancement fund.
Okay.
Second.
Motion is Melanie, second by Jim. Any other questions or comments? If not, we shall vote.
No.
Passed unanimously.
Very good. Thank you.
Woo-hoo!
Very exciting. I told you they're excited.
Thank you very
Awesome.
much.
That's great.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. We'll look forward to the open house. We'll let you know.
Very good, thank you. Number 5, consideration of possible action on a development agreement with Men's and Quality Homes for the property located at 821 Shea Avenue, tax parcel 18-31, under new homes in the neighborhood program.
Go. This is the one we wanted to hold.
You're so excited about the last one.
Okay. This is Ken's agenda item. He sneaks out here. And
He's not afraid.
Yep, the developer on this one actually decided to go with a different property.
Okay.
So we're gonna hold this and bring it back to the next meeting.
you don't need a motion.
No,
No,
I don't
very
think we
good.
do we?
I don't want to.
You don't motion to hold to the next meeting, or?
No.
It's a different item, it'll be a different item on the agenda, so.
So I would just dispose of it, just
To receive and
Receive
place on
and place
file.
on file. Receive and place.
A motion, Alder Larson, Jim, replacement.
Jingle, yes.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so carried. Number 6, consideration of possible action to authorize staff to release requests for proposals for 227 East Walnut Street and 109 North Adams Street, the old Stelmer and Schumacher buildings. Yes, yes.
Hello.
Yeah.
What property is this?
Okay.
Very nice picture.
Have we ever talked about this before?
Yeah, no, this is a new,
Okay, I'm like, is he making fun of me or not?
this is
I'm talking about Terry.
Did you ever see the movie Groundhog Day?
Yes, my husband, I don't think
I've never seen.
it's, don't even watch it.
Yeah, the floor is yours.
Okay, so we
Same scene.
ended our property agreement with the theater group as of the end of March.
Yes.
So we prepared these two RFPs to be proposed to go out separately this time, and with the option to combine the two buildings. So we prepared these and they're ready to go. They're very, very similar to the last ones. We made a few changes, very similar in nature. So any questions?
So was it at the last meeting, there was another party that had some interest in this property?
There have been some others who have expressed an interest because of our prior, I guess, commitment or obligation. We didn't move forward with anything. That restriction came off 1st of April. With that, I think, we'll forward this to the parties that were interested in it. I think we've had some internal discussions, look, maybe breaking them apart. If there's one who's interested in one piece versus the other, it may end up coming back together, but just wanted to explore that option moving forward, and then we'll, discuss with those developers if they have continued interest in doing something here. But we also felt like the RFP was the right route, just given, right, just broadcast out there again. I've said, with the Hotel Northland opening, I think that's really going to activate Adams Street a little bit more. Scally Lake's moving forward with their piece on there. There's just going to be a little more action, I think, on Adams Street in our market. Again, it's good, and so I think the timing is right to put this out there.
Good. And refresh your memory, we have talked about doing some construction to shore up.
Yes, we did.
What's the status of that?
We're moving forward, but we're going to wait to see what kind of response we get. So we can wait for about a month or so and still be able to proceed with that process.
Yeah, we were talking about getting some quotes or estimates, right? But that might be dependent upon who proposes.
If we get no activity on this, and by the end of the summer, we're going to have to act on it. So I think we're going to wait until we see what happens with this, and then.
But the roof's been repaired, it's nowhere leaking, right?
The roofs do not leak.
Right,
They have
good,
not
good.
been repaired.
They've been schlepped.
They've been
Oh, I
schlepped.
see, right. Gotcha.
But they don't leak.
At this point. I can say that.
I understand.
Not today.
The wise used to predict when I started, literally with the buckets. and
Our home would be a
buckets.
different story.
We did spend some money just to do a quick job to try to seal that area. a bit, but-
Absolutely, yep, good.
So I move to approve the request for proposals for 227 East Walnut and 109 North Adams Street.
Second.
Motion by Jim, second by Orndorff. Any other questions or comments? If not.
No, it'd be nice to see when you get back.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. Number 7, consider, what am I doing here?
You're both in.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Passed unanimously.
Very good, thank you, thank you very much. Number 7, consideration of possible action approval of subordination request for 1274 Crooks and 1033 Cherry Street from Neighborhood Works Green Bay.
So we received a letter that was in your packet. You may recall that we had that big loan against the LLCs that we forgave, but we held mortgages on all the properties. $18,500, I think, per property. So what happened was, and Scott Shaman is here from NeighborWorks, and he can speak to this as well, but on 2 of these properties, I think that they paid some debt off, which put our liens into first place. They would like to now use the equity out of those properties to do some solar work at NeighborWorks and to further some acquisitions for affordable housing. If you look at the numbers in front of you on the report, 1274 and 1033, the new debt in front of us would be $80,000 on that Crooks one and 715 on the Cherry Street property. And then our debt is behind that. So the total debts on there are about 80% to value, so we still have that 20% cushion in case they decide to sell or something were to happen, that our liens would be covered. Because those those appraised values of the properties on the Crooks one's 146. So there'd be mortgages of 168. And the other one's 135, mortgages of 108,000. So there's a cushion there. As I said, Scott's here if you want to open the floor to ask what that money pulled out is going to be used for. He can give you some more details on that if you're interested.
I think we should.
Move to open the meeting.
Second.
A motion by Jim and a second by Artie to open the meeting. All in favor, someone saying aye?
Aye.
Aye. Yes.
Scott, come on up.
Come on up.
So most of the primary reason for the money coming out is for the solar project. Solar project, total cost is about $150, but we've got some other subsidy sources that we're using to shore up that gap. So we'll end up with a good amount of money to invest in some new properties.
And what's the solar project? I mean, what is the solar project?
Solar project is, we're going to try to cover as much of our roof as possible. So the south end of our building is a gabled roof. It does have a south-facing gable. And then we've got a flat roof to the north that'll all be covered with solar. So it'll offset about 25% of our energy use. And then the balance of the funds, it'd be for new acquisitions, we want to have some cash ready to be able to deploy. We did have some recent acquisitions in 2017 and 2018 that we're still feeding money into, ones that didn't have any kind of subsidy sources here that we're finding are deeper investments necessary than what we initially anticipated.
So we're basically approving equity.
It's really a subordination request, is what it is, that we would fall behind that first mortgage. We would subordinate to that first mortgage.
So we're not writing any checks per se.
We're not writing any checks, we're
No.
just dropping we're going to number 2 instead of number 1.
Yeah, so yeah, your mortgage, when this got approved, maybe this was a year and a half ago, more maybe, time flies. But some of the debt got reshuffled on those properties. That the debt was evenly proportioned across that small portfolio. It got reshuffled to free up some debt on a few of the properties. This is one of these two are properties that where that debt was freed up. So by default, you slid into first place. And now we're trying to slide you back a little bit.
And on both, it keeps loan to value even with the new debt at 80% or below, so.
And the performing
Yeah.
properties that have been in our portfolio, or roughly in our portfolio, is the Life Tech over the last 20 years.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Questions?
Move to return to regular order.
Motion by Jim, second by Matt, to return to regular business. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So approved. Okay, so any other questions or comments otherwise? Well, we need a motion to.
Yeah, I'd make a motion, right, to approve the subordination request for 1274 Crooks and 1033 Cherry with NeighborWorks Green Bay.
I'll second.
Okay, a motion by Matt, second by Kathy. All those, well, any other questions or comments? I may have hit myself there. And we shall vote.
Trying to steal Lisa's thunder.
Yeah, you're right.
Passed unanimously.
Very good, thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Number 8, in consideration of possible action on changes to new homes in our neighborhood program.
That is me.
Kent Beck.
I know it's going to seem a little counterintuitive because we just granted a new homes in the neighborhood project here today. What we're looking at, there are 2 items that we really wanted to revamp for this program. And the first one we're hoping will help spark more spec building. We've had success with this program. We've had 10 builds since 2015 when we revamped this program from previous iterations of this program. Of those, we had one that was built by an owner, and they ended up, they invested more into the project than their actual value that they got out of it, but they wanted to invest in the neighborhood. So they had that investment. 2 others were spec built. Those were on lots that had a few, I guess, less challenges. Lots that are, I guess, were probably valued a little bit higher at the time. And then 7 of those builds were done through NeighborWorks, of which 4 were the Navarino townhomes, or 4 of the Navarino townhomes, which also incorporated other funding for the project. And then the other 3 were combined with their adopt-a-home program. So there was also other funding sources that helped offset some of these construction costs. So that is really the main reason we're looking at increasing our grant funding from $20,000 up to $25,000. We have had other applicants that have had planning options, and some of those have fallen through because they couldn't make the numbers work, and had requested higher grants at that time, and it just wasn't in the program at the time. So we're hoping, looking at construction costs right now of about 20 to 25% increase, going from 20,000 to 25,000, that lines up with that cost increase. So we're hoping that will spark more, I guess, spec building on some of our infill lots here. If we could find homeowners to go right, like Callie here is a good example, we'd love that. But I think just as we're getting the program going and out there, we'd like to have more of those spec builds. So that is the first request. The second is kind of just cleaning up the program a little bit. We offer the option for a $500 planning option for a 60-day planning option currently, which we usually staff will bring that recommendation to the RDA and then grant that 60-day option, which that usually means there's about that extra month in there from when someone applies for it to when we grant it. We feel that if staff were to be allowed to grant the planning options, we could start working with these developers right away and then just bring the development agreement to the RDA and just really streamline that process and make sure we're bringing you projects that we know are ready to go, all the numbers line up, and the plan is already, at least at the staff level approved, rather than bring an option that might end up, the numbers might not work out or whatever, So we just feel that would really streamline the process for this program.
Has the RDA ever disapproved a planning option that you brought forward?
We haven't, no.
And these are for the single-family homes on the lots?
Correct, yeah, so
that are open,
Or on the market.
that are on the market?
Yes, correct.
How many of these lots would there be today?
Right now, we have, well, minus this one, 9 of them. Yeah, we have some planning options with Habitat on 2 of the other ones, so, yeah. 9
I
lines.
just have to say, government works slowly, but it doesn't have to work slowly if there's no
If
reason.
we can make it a little more
Right.
efficient, yep. So in the program right now, we've actually had people bring in their $500 planning option checks when they apply. And like, oh, well, you actually have to wait a month, hold on to that check until we get approval, so.
You really have, it's a beautiful project, just a.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what are we gonna do to make it easier?
And I guess I'll show you guys, I brought these as well. We do offer plans, pre-approved plans for our lots. I only have 4 copies here printed off, but these are also on our website. And these are offered to anyone who wants to use them for the program or on any infill lot in Green Bay. So just another asset that we have for our program here.
How much are these?
It varies, and it's tough to say with, it depends on your finishes, but you're looking at about $130 to $150 a square foot.
Not bad.
Yeah, I mean, our main goal is to get houses on these lots that fit the neighborhood. And that's also, if we can get that planning option, sooner, we can start working with the developer to point out either our plans or work with them on their plans to really come forward with something that staff can get behind and that owners can be proud of. So.
And really the goal of this program, right, is let's not have these empty lots. Let's have homes on there that are taxable.
Correct.
The goal. That's right, so if we were at 0, we'd be fine.
Correct.
Yep.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Jim, and second by Matt to approve. Any other questions or comments? If not, Michelle.
I have it printed now, so that's why I keep forgetting to look at my computer. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Number 9, consideration possible action to purchase 500 chairs, enforcing secure transport dollies for the KI Convention Center at $88,204. Is that exact amount, Cor?
That's exact amount. I have to bid back. So, you know, we have been trying to replace some of our older chairs and tables. We did a big purchase a couple of years ago. This is an additional 500 chairs, but fortunately for us, they're going to keep the old chairs there and use them for backup. In the past, we then had the chairs to dispose of.
Oh, I remember the
Those
table
the green
debacle.
ones, oh yes, so, but they're gonna keep the old chairs. We had a donation from KI that helped us purchase furniture, and we're closing that out now. So this purchase, actually, we've got $71,786 left in that donation pool. This purchase is $88,204, so we'll have to use $16,417 out of our KI maintenance fund. We've got about 1.6 in that fund.
Oh, I was going to ask you. Yeah.
Anyway, I'd like to make a motion to approve the purchase of 500 chairs and 14 chair transport dollies for the KI Convention Center for $88,204.
Second.
Motion by Oldendorf, and a second by Melody. Any questions or comments? This time, so.
Geez, again? I don't know what's the matter with me today.
I know,
Well, yeah, I'm reading my book.
Passed unanimously.
Excellent, thank you. Informational, I just checked
Yeah.
out the finance report, I'm very comfortable with the check register. Director's report and project updates.
All right. So, I think we talked a little bit about earlier this opportunity zone funding. We've been working in our office to kind of get us ready. So we have actually 4 census districts that have been designated opportunity zones in our community. We basically have the whole west side of the river from boundary with Howard all the way along the bay, all the way down the river. On the west side, you know, basically east of Ashland, all the way through the district. And then one on the east side out near University Avenue, where like JBS and Festival, that area out there as well. And really what it does is you know, allows people who have realized capital gains to reinvest those funds into these districts, and basically, in essence, write off the taxes that they'd have to pay in those gains otherwise. And so it's a unique funding vehicle that, you know, Brent mentioned earlier, you know, allows for, it's another tool for investment in some of these areas. So we're getting some things together just to kind of explain it, what it means, both from in terms of external investors like Brent and Merge and their company, but also potentially internal investors and people in the city who would like to maybe invest in projects that are going on. So putting kind of a package together that can help explain this, along with just, again, other incentives that we as a city offer and you know, really kind of help to fuel some additional projects. I know it's been maybe a little quiet in terms of development agreements. We've been working on some things in the background, so hopefully next few weeks here this summer we can, you know, start talking about some additional projects. I think as we get into this construction season, there's still a lot of good opportunities to be had in the city. So we'll start to see some things with that. Other than that, I just wanted to say thanks to the mayor for his service.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
You know, so it's been amazing. I mean, just the last 4 years, things I've been able to work on here, you know, with you and the team, and you know, 12 years prior to that, you know, definitely fantastic in terms of the mark on the city. You were just talking to somebody about on the phone the other day, somebody is like, oh yeah, you know, I was, you know, in Green Bay, it must have been like, you know, 15, 20 years ago. And like, you haven't been to Green Bay then.
You're right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
you're
Very,
not.
very, very true, that if you really came before year 2000, you have not been in the city.
No, absolutely. I got a couple questions.
Sure.
One, the Associated Bank parking lot, I see the county's got their signs off there.
Yes, they have them off. I think they made a lot of signs. They may have seen them move to the Bank Mutual one, so they're leasing that lease to do some parking. We're in the process of working on closing right now. I think administratively, our attorneys have ironed out the purchase and sale agreement. And we're set to close, or anticipating closing this month on the 26th. It might get delayed just a little bit because they actually have to get it back from the county first. So it might be a little wiggle room in that timing. But then again, short-term plan, we've been working with Director Renier to lease that for parking. And then long-term plan, we're going to add that to our kind of sites that we're marketing for your development. But yeah, we'll have that in our name in the next 60 days.
Maybe the next meeting or one after that, whatever, quick review of all the properties we own. And we have that map.
Yep.
Okay, just review it, everybody, to bring everybody up to speed to exactly which properties that we do own.
And then can I ask a question?
Wait,
So,
can I clarify, I just clarify that first. So, do you want properties that we own that we can sell? Because we own a lot of property that are like consistent
I'm
parking
particularly
or.
interested in properties that we can convert to the tax rolls.
Okay, so that's.
Yeah.
Development opportunity.
Yeah.
Development opportunities, gotcha.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Kathy, I'm sorry.
so the county was using that as a parking lot and leasing it or charging their employees, so they're no longer using it at all? They're not leasing
Kind of
anything
no
from us?
man's
or-
land out there right now. But no, they're not under contract. I think they signed a separate agreement for the county to use some spaces at the Bank and Mutual site instead.
The lot on the other side.
Correct.
Right.
Any other questions or comments from Kevin or staff? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Jim and Melody.
Oh.
All in favor, say by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Next meeting.
Okay, do you have to vote on that?
All right.
Yeah, now
So
you're
next
ready.
meeting is May, just a calendar check. in case.
Catch the June 11th, or June.
Oh,
Sitting at June 4th.
Yep.
the June meeting is going to be changed to June 4th, Kathy, because there was, June 11th, there's too many of us that weren't going to make it. Are you going to be able to be there June 4th, you know?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, what about since?
Yes, I will be here June 4th.
Okay,
I know
Alder
that.
North will not be here next meeting. Anybody else aware right now that they will not be here for the May meeting?
The
So,
May meeting on the
Matthew-
14th?
I won't be here.
Okay, we'll have to make sure we have a quorum as well.
On the 14th.
Okay.
And then just one project
Get emails.
tracking, just in case we may need to have a special RDA, April 23rd or the 30th, a bonus would be one that would be better if we needed to have a special.
This is April.
April, yep.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Either April 23rd or April 30th.
Right now, it works for me.
Right now, neither one works.
Either one, okay.
But
I don't know if we'll
I think I can do
have it,
it.
but
Yeah, I think
30th is better.
I'm not in town the 23rd, so.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. If we do that, we'd probably shoot for the 30th then, that's what I get.
Okay. What that work for me. There's a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor, saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you. Excellent meeting.